Hello viewers, welcome to a very special G Plus interview with the Guwahati Municipal Corporation Commissioner Devashish Sharma. Commissioner Sharma, thank you so much for finding time for this.
Thank you.
You've been very lucky since taking over as Commissioner, particularly because there has been a substantial low rainfall this year in the city. Yet when there was a bout of showers, we had to bear the full brunt of rains, waterlogging and traffic jams. Weren't we suitably prepared for this?
We were, and Devajit, if you would, look, deeper into it, you'll realize. Take, for instance, the areas like Anil Nagar, Nobin Nagar, Juripar. These are infamous, rather notoriously famous for waterlogging. Compared to other times, the waterlogging is much lesser. Earlier on, in places like Juripar, it used to take around 10 to 15 hours for the waters to be flushed out, right? So this time it is taking much lesser. Having said that, I do not want to say that we have done a wonderful job of it, right? But at the same time, in the last few months, you must have seen the municipality people, our workers, our engineers, our machines, they are on the streets, they are in the field trying to do whatever possible. Right. Guwahati is in the shape of a bowl, right? Surrounded by hills on all sides with unabated, inflow of people who have come and settled in those places, constructing buildings and houses illegally, which has resulted in a lot of erosion, and that erosion creates a lot of silt in our drains, and our drains get clogged, right? So this is something, the flash floods, the urban floods in Guwahati will need to be tackled with a multi-pronged approach, right? When we talk about the 5 rivers which used to be abundantly flowing at one time, they're all clogged and blocked. So in order to tackle that, in my personal opinion, we'll need to have an alternative outlet.
Yeah. Were you just referring to a storm drain system, if I'm not wrong?
Partially, yes, not entirely.
The shifting of the landfill sites from Boragaon to Chandrapur, that was a reason the GMC had to take quite a beating in the eyes of public opinion.
Yes.
Do you think the GMC did a good job out of this issue?
No, I would not endorse that. That we did something very good. But then, I believe we did good within the limited periphery of what we could have done under the given circumstances. We'll need to sort of, improve ourselves from time to time, right? First of all, to put a proper plan in place, that is one, proper execution, and a futuristic and a very, very practical, form of planning. So that is the challenge and the need of the hour.
So you have plans for a permanent long-term solution to Guwahati's garbage crisis?
Yes, of course we do. That is why we are here for.
And it involves, from what I hear you say, some amount of thinking out of the box, I assume. Decentralized zones instead of one mammoth landfill.
Yeah, yes. That's it. You see, all these lessons, it would be wrong to say that it's out of the box thinking, because we have learned it from the rest of the country. We have been to Ahmedabad, Indore, Chandigarh, New Bombay, all these places. So we have lessons to learn from the areas or the towns and cities which have done very well. So we have learned from them.
The GMC's revenues have fallen sharply over the course of the pandemic. Do you have any practical solutions to tackle this shortfall?
Well, I do agree it has fallen, and We need to have a very humane approach to it. The reason why I say this is, everyone is affected by the pandemic, and we have all the people who would be, otherwise paying revenue to the corporation. Take for instance the hoarding, the people who, the advertising agencies, the people who do different trades, who come for trade license, renewal of trade license. They come and tell us that they have not had good business, so they are not in a position to renew the trade license, right? Building permission, all the areas from where we get our revenue, they have been affected. So when you talk of a plan in place, now that the situation is better, first of all, it would be in the form of a request we tell them. Because you see, it's not that business is not happening, right? Business is happening, but maybe on a lesser scale. So we do understand the problems which the business community who need to pay taxes to us are facing. But at the same time, we also need to be strict, get the ground realities absolutely correct in place, have a grip over the situation, and levy our taxes accordingly. It may not be in tune with what we used to get earlier on, but still we will need to pay our salaries, which is around 8 to 10 crores per month in the GMC, right? So we'll need to do certain works.
Many commercial buildings in Guwahati continue to flout GMC regulations, especially with relation to parking. Do you have any special plans about tackling those violations?
Commercial buildings don't have parking. I mean, you see, we don't give parking slots in commercial buildings. It is on the streets or on our parking slots. That's how it is.
Okay. But shouldn't you be making commercial buildings have underground?
They do have, but they do it on their own. We cannot charge revenue there because that is a part of the building plan, our building permission. People, they look into that, and you'll need to have proper parking space for your building drawings to be approved.
There is also an overlap between the GMC and the GMDA when it comes to certain permissions, building permissions for instance, where you may require a permission from one agency and an NOC from the other.
It's no longer there. I mean, that ambiguity was there earlier on, but now it's absolutely clear. If it is something to do with the land, that is, the GMDA will come into the picture, and all permissions related to the drawing, whether a drawing is proper or not, whether the setbacks have been maintained or not, whether the road, which the approach road is proper or not, all that would be done by GMC.
Since 2014, no former GMC Commissioner has been able to enforce the Street Vending Act that we already have in place, and as a result of which street vending remains a very chaotic affair across the city. Do you have any specific plans on this score?
Yes, we do, because that is a very important part of our corporation's job, and the vendors are not happy with the places we choose. So first and foremost, what we need to do is go in for proper geo-tracking and identification of all the vendors who are in the city. That is number one. Secondly, identify the areas, the vending zones in which they should be allowed to operate. Then giving proper information about places where vendors cannot be sitting, right? These vendors have to be registered. All of them have to be registered under Guwahati Municipal Corporation. Start off with a small place, maybe identify 10 areas. Okay, since in Indore you have a concept of cow gully. During the day it's a jewelry market, and at night it's a cow gully where you get cuisines from all over the country, right? So why can't we have a similar cow gully?
Have you actually identified a potential cow gully for Guwahati?
Yes, It's very near to that Gol Chakkar of that near Guwahati club, and you'll see it happening in the next 2-3 months.
Your ongoing campaign against the open selling of fish and meat, it has met with a lot of resistance.
Yes.
While there can be no argument against making the system scientific and hygienic, do you think Guwahati is ready to make that shift into a more scientific, more hygienic?
A very, very good question. You see, there would be challenges. And in a place like Guwahati, you see, not these vendors, not all of them are educated, right? And for them, it is, selling meat in open or hanging a goat like this used to be the fashion kind of a thing. It used to be, in fact, some of them found it very strange when I told them. And they said that this is how it should be done. This is how you should hang the goat and this is how you should sell pork. But then we have to make a beginning somewhere, right? I do agree that the path ahead is going to be challenging.
Outdoor advertising is a major business in the city, yet the way it is conducted is very haphazard at places. Do you see a way of doing this thing in a manner that contributes to the city's beauty rather than detracting from it?
Right. See, we'll need to learn from these cities which are doing well, and in this we need to be far more stricter. I totally agree with you when you say that we need to beautify this, and when you say beautify, we have to give them certain responsibilities, and those responsibilities should be binding upon them. We need to have a framework of rules and regulations so that we bind them properly to what we want them to do. We'll need to develop a climate where these people, all our advertising guys, our vendors and the people who work with the GMC, they also feel within themselves that they need to beautify the city.
There is also a lot of space below the flyovers, which is currently unused, except for a tiny portion that is used for toilets and other public facilities. Do you have any plans to use these potential sources of revenue effectively?
Yes, we have already, if you visit Ganeshguri, it's not just a toilet, it is the most beautiful toilet in Guwahati today. It's supported by Lions Club. What we are trying to do here is, we have already spoken to the police. In fact, the Commissioner of Police is very keen that all these barricades should be opened and GMC should take over. We'll turn them into parking lots, and earn revenue. The idea is in the next 6 months, when a lady goes out into the streets and she has to respond to the call of nature, she should not be looking around, or she should not hold on. She should not say, oh, let me reach home, only then I'll respond to the call. No, this is something very sad. So Guwahati needs to come up to those standards where a lady feels comfortable to use a public facility.
Finally, Mr. Sharma, what is your vision for Guwahati? How do you see the city developing in the months and years to come?
You see, for me, the biggest challenge today is to have a good plan in place for garbage management, because beautifying the city is very important. You see, the main challenge is, let us be very grounded. And number one, keeping the city clean. When you walk in the streets of Guwahati, you should feel good. When you go for your morning walk, you should, walk in a clean city. That's the challenge. That will take some time. All the street lights should be burning. Guwahati should be lit up properly. Flash floods. That is, again, you need to work on that. And then the last and final, I would say, we supply water to around 25% of the population. So that 25% of the population, the water supply department should, it should be absolutely efficient, and we should be able to supply clean water till we are doing it. As of now, be grounded, do not fly very high, keep your expectations low. I think we take it one at a time. Wonderful work has been done by the people who have been with the corporation, and now we take it to another stage. That's what I would like to focus on.
Commissioner Sharma, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Same here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.